But unless the metrics are driving something meaningful and heading you towards the execution of your growth strategy, they're just numbers. And I get concerned that when, as marketers, you're being judged on the metrics you can put on your CV, and they don't necessarily equal deep thinking. They don't necessarily equal strategy. They might just be you
Mm,
ran a good campaign, you got some good numbers. What did that actually end up being? And
yeah.
especially in B2B, like I would argue that I made a significant change in the business where I focused on the C to draw people back to us. And I could have run campaigns that would have given me better numbers on my CV, but I
Mm,
wouldn't have transformed the business. Whereas what I
yeah.
did was I enabled a consulting practice to be developed that couldn't have existed without the work I did.
Mm. It's a really interesting point you make, and a conversation that I have often of some of the, I was going to say intangibles, and that's the wrong word, because what you did there was very tangible. It was a big
Mm.
change, but as you say, it's not such a simple, snappy 20%
Right, no,
increase thing to put on
it's
your
a
CV.
multi-year
It's,
plan,
yeah,
right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's
Yeah, yeah.
much more difficult to explain. It's much more difficult for someone to understand. And also, as is often the challenge, the first person reading your CV is probably not a marketer. So they actually don't understand that thing you
Yes.
did because they don't understand the
Yeah.
context. Whereas a marketer reading that can go, oh wow, that thing there, that's huge. Like I've tried to
Yeah.
I've tried to shift that before, or I've tried to change that before. I
Yeah.
understand how difficult that thing is that person did. And I think it's absolutely one of the inbuilt challenges around how you articulate your value, and
Absolutely.
not
I
just in
struggle with
a,
it all the time.
yeah, it's not easy. And I think, it's probably one of the pitfalls of kind of the rise of digital, whenever it was 10 years ago, maybe a bit more, when everyone was just going nuts
Yeah.
of like, digital's where it's at, everything's digital.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people sort of fell into that trap because of the metrics, because of the numbers, because for years they'd, how do you explain, brand to a CFO who just wants to see a number, and you're trying to say, no, but we've built trust, we've, done all these
Yeah.
really important things. And suddenly you could show those numbers, and it kind of feels like maybe the pendulum swung too far.